One to episode 3 of the official podcast for Guardian 1, a Destiny group dedicated to the prosperity of Guardians everywhere. We broadcast live every Thursday at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, right here on the Guardian 1 network, except, obviously, for weeks that we do not. My name is Remy, and I did not get to play in the Destiny Alpha that ran from Thursday to Monday of last week. Joining me this evening are two Guardians who did get to play, and one who shared my fate. River will not be joining us this evening as he his 5th anniversary with Mrs. River. Congratulations to both of you. Our fan did get to play in the Alpha. Crimson Warlock, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited because I finally get to talk about the Alpha with everybody, and I don't get to talk about Destiny, because there's nothing cooler to talk about.
I couldn't agree more. There definitely is not anything cooler to talk about other than Destiny. I know that you did some traveling during that weekend. How much time did you end up putting into the Alpha?
Oh, probably 6 hours if I was lucky. I was probably around 5.5 hours is about all that I got, but it was enough to get some good impressions and enough to get me hooked, that's for sure.
Great. It'll be very interesting to see what you have to say. I know that you've been bubbling over with information you want to share, and tonight you can share that. Des, you also got to spend time exploring Destiny in the Alpha. How are you doing tonight?
Well, like most people that did play in the Alpha, we're all going through withdrawal.
I like
But
it.
other than that, it's been a pretty good day.
Awesome. So how much time did you put into the Alpha?
In the 5 days, I probably put close to 24 hours in.
Awesome. That sounds great. So how much do you think that you saw? Do you feel like you searched through every nook and cranny, or was there a lot more that you would still be chewing on right now?
I probably should have put more time into the Crucible, but I did explore Old Russia as best as I could.
Awesome. Yeah, the exploration videos were the ones that I kept going back to. As much as it is watching the Crucible fights, at some point, it's only so many maps. You can only watch the same thing play out so many times. I did see some really fun stuff that I'm looking forward to getting to. But it's great to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Finally, we have a Guardian who has been putting a ridiculous amount of time into Guardian 1 behind the scenes and will now be responsible for handling chat questions and comments. Leo, also known as Latitude X, welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight?
Great to be on the show. Great to be with everyone else in the community who is in the chat. Now not only do you have to deal with me rambling in the chat, but rambling on the podcast.
Outstanding. I'm sure everybody is looking forward to that. You are the other Guardian who did not get to play in the Alpha. How much time have you spent watching videos / wishing you had bought a PlayStation 4 instead of an Xbox One?
Well, not enough to say I want to buy a PlayStation 4. I'm still very happy with an Xbox One. However, the amount of time I spent watching videos and rewatching videos, well, it's a bit shameful to admit just how much time I may have spent doing that.
That's awesome. That's what this group is here for. We are here for you. These guys got to play. Warlock, how much time do you think that you spent watching videos after having played? All right, we lost Mike. Jez.
Probably when I wasn't working, it would have been the rest of the time.
Nice. So you were just chock full of Destiny videos and playing it. That's awesome. Mike, do we got you back?
Yeah, I'm back, sorry. I would probably only put myself at a handful of hours of watching stuff right now. Since I was on vacation, I've had a lot of stuff I had to catch up with work, and my wife contracted pink eye and strep throat after we got back home, so I've been I've been working and playing Mr. Mom, and just haven't had too much time to put into watching videos. But I don't feel like I'm missing out because I got to play it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wish I could play it. And for all those listening, the one of my favorite videos from the alpha was Destiny Overwatch's The Wild Frontier. He took quite a few of the scenes that we've come to know and love from the old Russia, like scenes that we've seen a million times because we just wanted more Destiny, and he kind of put a slight twist on them, kind of walked through really slowly and checked it out. So if you're interested in kind of a singular other viewpoint, I definitely suggest checking that out. And we do have plenty to talk about. It's great to have all of you here. I appreciate it. Just a quick reminder to our live listeners, we will be answering questions all night long, in theory. Just direct them to Leo, and he will add them to the list that we are all drawing from. So, we are 21 days from the beta and 75 days from release. And what I want to know is, now that so much information has been released thanks to the alpha, are you still planning on playing the class you originally planned to play? Leo, when you got sucked into this Destiny whirlpool, what class did you originally identify with? And did that change with the release of the alpha?
Well, originally I wanted to play either Warlock or Titan. Now, watching everything during the alpha gameplay, I really decided I am 100% going to stick with the Warlock, but I just can't decide now over what style of a Warlock do I really want to play.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm looking forward to the second focus and seeing what kind of differences that leads. So you were going either Titan or Warlock, and now you're set totally Warlock.
Without a doubt.
Awesome. Awesome. Jez, now that you have had a chance to play, are you still a Titan first, or has one of the other classes taken its place? Looks like we lost Jez. All right. Question to you, Mike. After having played,
I'm
are
also
you...
muted. For PvE, yes, I'm still going Titan. Although for any type of mode that I'm going to be using damage, it's probably going to switch over to Warlock, just because they have more range, and you're not always in the middle of everything trying to kill you.
I like it. I like it. That's that's kind of what I noticed was the difference between Warlock and the Titan is that the Warlock throws this damage-dealing ball of destruction into the fray, whereas the Titan throws this damage-dealing ball of himself into the fray. And what do you do after that? You hope you've destroyed all of the enemies in that area.
Yeah.
So you're
Close you out of there.
So for most things you're talking about, so what would you say would turn you into the Warlock? You're thinking about PvP is where you need to bring that level?
PvP, or if I ever want to just not be as tanky, and if I want to throw out more damage.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good to me. Okay, same question to you, Mike. After having played, are you still Crimson Warlock, or will you be changing your name to Crimson Titan or Crimson Hunter soon?
I am keeping my Warlock pure until the launch. I haven't touched the Warlock, and I won't in the beta either. Just because I've focused on that class so much, and I want the whole thing to be a surprise to me, something new to learn. During my time with the alpha, I played mostly Titan and some Hunter. And so I actually have to say, while my main's still going to be a Warlock, my second class is definitely going to be the Titan. Didn't have much love for the Hunter, but I'll give it another shot during the beta, see what I get. I like the Titan mostly because I felt like in the beginning bits of play, the Titan had maybe, at least to me, it felt like a little bit more mobility, but especially a lot more life. It was a lot easier to maybe take on a couple of monsters that were 1 or 2 levels higher than me as a Titan. As a hunter, I tried to do the same thing and I died a lot. So definitely liked the Titan's survivability a lot more than what I played with the hunter, but definitely gonna still say Warlock for launch.
So Jez, did you experience the same thing when you were going through the different classes? Did you notice that the hunter was maybe a bit leafy, as where the Titan could take a couple more shots or be put into a situation that wasn't optimal?
Well, I found that playing either the Warlock or the Hunter, I would be quite a bit more likely to be killed, but I'm also less likely to be in a position to be killed. So it's kind of this balance.
Interesting. After watching several hours of videos, I am more excited about being a Titan than ever. But now I am also super excited about playing all of them, both because they all look like fun to play, but also because there is power in knowing your enemy. I asked this question on our forums, and everyone selected that they were staying with their original choice. I think this goes to show just how balanced they have made each class in terms of coolness factor and abilities, and I'm excited to see how the second focus influences that landscape. Are any of you more excited about the second focus more than the first, Jez?
Yeah, definitely. With the Titan, it actually brings a lot of utility to the group rather than just trying to kill things. That
Agreed.
interests me a lot.
Agreed. I'm super excited about that. And to be perfectly honest, I was not excited about this Fist of Havoc, this striker mod. I get it. I get that it does damage and that's cool, but I was much more interested in how the defender is going to roll out. But now after watching the gameplay, like I watched TTL Cute fly over this wall and just cream these people like they had no idea that there was somebody coming from above them to destroy them and to wreck their day. And that was exciting. Something else real quick I wanted to touch on is special stuffing, or no, super stuffing. Are you guys familiar with this? The super stuffing?
Nope.
Sorta.
So I had a question. I was Deej posted about watch an actual fire team in the Crucible, and TTL Cute was broadcasting, and while I watched all of this footage, I noticed that whenever the hunter went to do his golden gun, there's only two reactions to this golden gun. One is you run and hide. You hide from this guy's field of vision point of view as quickly as you can, or you try and snuff him out. And this guy was riding that interceptor, and then this guy comes around the corner and does his golden gun, and he jumps off that interceptor and does his Titan smash. And so I couldn't help but think, does this mean that hunter no longer gets to use that special? Like those 3 magic bullets he no longer gets to use? And I think that's the case. Crimson Warlock, did you see this happening yourself?
Yeah, it happened to me a few times playing a hunter, but it happened. I did the same thing to hunters when I was playing my Titan. And as soon as they activate it, if they die, they lose it. I mean, that bar starts to deplete, and even in PvP, by the time you respawn, it's been 10 seconds. So that bar's all depleted. And so it's kind of like, that you got to get it. But the thing is I feel like, at least in PvP, that golden gun is definitely one of the better supers to have. Just because you've got 10 seconds and 3 shots, whereas with the Titan and the Warlock, if you're going to kill 3 people, they have to be pretty close together. But the Hunter's got a lot more mobility and can still take out 3 people. But I do have to say, I will be very interested to see the shield that the Titan has, if that can block a golden gun or a Nova bomb. I would think that would be the awesome save ever. The Titan just jumps in, pops that bubble over a capture point, and no one can touch them for 3 to 4 seconds, however long the bubble lasts.
Man, that is awesome thinking. I love that, and it kind of fits really well with what Bungie's already been saying about every action has an equal and opposite block. Jez, or wait, no, Warlock. So, are you more excited about the second focus on these ones, the Hunter and the Titan that you played? Are you excited to check out these second ones?
I am, especially the Titan, and okay, even though my Titan's gonna be a human female, I love Iron Man, and the fact that the Titan can like project a shield like Iron Man can in comics, like I'm like, oh yes, this is gonna be awesome. So I'm excited to try that one with the Titan. And I do think, while I enjoyed the Golden Gun, I think it'll just be so much fun to dash in there as a hunter, going third person, and just taking out a whole bunch of people or enemies, PvP, PvE, and just feel that much awesomeness around you with your knife, just taking everything out.
Do you
so I'm
think
excited for those.
Do you think that that's guided? Do you think that when you go into that third person mode, that you choose who your next target is? Because I could see that being really awesome, being able to jump from 1 to 2 to 3, but do you think that there's a possibility that it is also just planned out, like you automatically go to whoever's closest next?
I would probably say it wouldn't feel as consistent with the hunter theme, because the hunter theme is all about mobility, and so I don't really feel like it would. I feel like it's something that you can guide again. I feel like it's probably got a 10-second duration, or you can kill X number of enemies with it.
Do you have a take on that, Jez?
Yeah, actually, there was a interview a long time ago with someone that actually got to play the higher level subclasses, and it did bring out to a third person mode where they could go from whoever they want, like in a third person, slashing people.
Crazy. That's awesome. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. How do you feel about the Hunter, Leo? Any interest at all in checking out this Edgewalker, or what is it called now?
Well, I mean, honestly, with everything that's coming out, my curiosity really starts going into how deep are we going to be able to alter each one of our classes with the subdivisions of the subclasses, just as you have like the ancestral order inside of brain freeze, inside of the warlocks. And honestly, I'm more curious on how we'll be able to just get those tiny little specs and start changing them and moving them. So my mind itself is more just wondering and just thinking on how far could we get those small little movements from one side to another, rather than just sticking on those central points of, will this special be able to help me in this area or that, PvP versus PvE.
Interesting, and definitely something to think about further. All right, so let's go to you, Crimson Warlock. I know that you had a lot that you wanted to talk about. What is right on the top of your brain that you have to talk about right now?
I will just kind of go through my list. We've kind of talked about it. I mean, the Hunter definitely seems a lot more tanky, and they were built that way than the Titan seems more tanky than the Hunter. Sorry. And I totally noticed that. I noticed that, I had to be more careful as the Hunter, but maybe this is my lack of skill not playing too many FPSs. But I had to make sure that I was attacking things closer to my level than when I played the Titan. Like the Titan, I felt like at the beginning when you start almost at level 4, but you're still level 3, I still felt like I could take on level 4 guys and level even 5s and still feel like I was okay. Whereas the Hunter is a little bit harder to do that. just because you were a little bit squishy. One thing that I feel like is definitely going to be a big thing in Destiny is it's going to be the theory crafting and min-maxing with your characters. And what I have to say about that is just the fact that all of your abilities that can do a lot of burst damage really fast are on long cooldowns. And that's a really good thing because it requires more thought than just running in and blowing everything that you can, because those cooldowns in PvP seem like forever long. Your grenade, I mean, it's this is kind of what I'm taking from what Bife said, but it's going to be a tactical thing. It's not just going to be I need one person to die, so I'm going to throw my grenade. It's more like, well, I've got the pulse grenade that does damage in an area and it lasts for 30 to 40 seconds, so I'm just going to throw that there and kind of forget about that area because no one's going to be able to run through there and survive. But at the same token, that cooldown's super long, and that is one thing that I loved, is just thinking of, am I going to want this gear because it gives me more damage, or am I going to want this gear because it reduces my cooldown on some of my abilities? So that is definitely one thing that I loved about the beta or the alpha. And just really quick, I guess my main thing that I want to talk about is something that two things that I read in different articles over this last year that I've been following Destiny. And the first one was, I want to say it was an article I read from Joseph Staten when he was playing with his son in one of their alpha builds. And the servers were shutting down, so people were logging off, but they were still playing. And he told the interviewer that his son said, the game's not fun anymore because there's no people around. And that is what made the game fun for me in the alpha. And this is my main reason. When you started out in the alpha, it started you on a story mission, but you were out in the wild. You were kind of in your patrol explorer mode, and then once you got to your mission point, then it became an instanced area for just you and your fire team. And when I started my hunter, I had this exact same experience that Deej said in one of the weekly updates, where I was outmanned and outgunned. I was in an area I probably shouldn't have been, and I was not quite level 4, and the things I was attacking were level 7 as a hunter. And my grenade was on cooldown. I didn't have my knife throw yet, and so all I had was my guns, and I was running out of ammo. And all of a sudden, some other hunter was level 6, golden gunned the rest of the guys who were attacking me, and then just disappeared. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing, because I needed the help, and it came. And while it would have been fun to continue playing with that person, we were both happy that that particular co-op happened, and then it stopped happening, and we both continued on our various ways. But it was just so cool, and it was a different feeling than the other MMOs that I've played. I don't know if Jez has had too many experiences in World of Warcraft or the other ones he's played, but most MMOs were not centered around co-op. It was all just about, you want to kill the monster yourself so you get the loot, or the only reason for co-op was to do the end game raids or the hard bosses instances, and that sometimes it was people that you've never met, and so there wasn't really that true sense of co-op. And while I never had met this Guardian, like it was a thrill to get help, even though he disappeared. And that was like my favorite part, my highlight of my alpha, was just to receive that help when I needed it and then continue on my way. But I felt like we were both edified by doing it.
That's awesome. That's way awesome. And I could see that being the turning point, what sets this apart. from your normal first-person shooters. I want to introduce you to a little something I call Heartache, under the same circumstances. Okay, so the game Defiance. I love the game Defiance, and this thing that Bungie keeps talking about where you're going on your own merry way and you run across a group of people. That magic is in Defiance. It's very similar in this way, and the heartbreak I speak of is I met up with somebody. They were buying something at a vendor, and this huge bad guy showed up, and I would just happen to be like I was going to go buy some weapons, and I helped this person take this bad guy down, and and then we just started traveling together. Like, we didn't start chatting. We just kept moving in the same direction, and we just kept killing bad guys. And then we'd get on our bikes, and like, it was this really awesome connection. And as soon as I got just too far away from that person, they disappeared from my instance, and I never saw them again. Like in the middle of this camaraderie, in the middle of this fighting these bad guys, we were headed into a big area. They got put into a separate instance. So what I'm curious to know is how many people can be in one instance. Bungie keeps saying it's only one world, but you can only have so many people. Like let's take Alan for instance. He's got some kind of 23,000 Twitter followers, and I'm certain every single one of them wants to play Destiny with him. I know I do. So how is that going to happen? Like, say he has 100 friends on his friends list, they can't all be in the tower, right? So I'm curious to know how they separate that information, like how that's all chosen. Jez, do you have a similar story to this Warlocks where you were in an open area or you were doing something and just all of a sudden someone came out of nowhere that you either needed to help or that ended up helping you, or anything cool like this?
Well, most of the people that showed up, they were either quite far away or they generally stuck to what they were doing. But one of the things that I found really awesome is the default mode when you're just by yourself in patrol is a mode that lets anyone that's on your friends list just drop in to your fire team.
Oh.
So you'll just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden, someone will show up, just start talking to you. It's like, oh, where'd you come from?
That's awesome. Was that awesome?
Yeah, and then spent another hour or so just questing well, I say questing, but we were just going around killing things in Old Russia together, and that was quite fun.
That sounds like questing to me. I'll allow it. Leo, do you have anything to share on this front? Are you of some kind of MMO background where the meeting of minds randomly is something that happens, or is this new to you? And what do you think about that?
Well, I've messed around a little bit with MMOs. Not really enough, mostly because I know that if I get sucked into an MMO, I'll never come out. I've decided that I'll just live in Destiny, and that will be it in this case. And for me, coming in being somebody who's used to either being in an FPS where I'll see 16 people in a match, or an RPG where I'll never meet a living soul, it is a very weird concept to just go around and then suddenly you're just locked in your mind. Okay, I need to do this quest, and then suddenly a person pops up, which is why I don't know how much I can add on in this idea, especially on this point. But I do think it is an interesting way with limiting the people and showing them in a more progressive. Let me change exactly what I'm trying to tell you. The way you were describing beforehand, with how in the alpha you would start out in the middle of a mission instead of starting in the tower. Instead of seeing a bunch of people, you just start in this one area where it could happen, like it happened with some of us, that you randomly ran into people who suddenly could help you with a mission. And I think that that's actually something Bungie is going to do in the full launch of the game, not on a random mission, but in the idea of putting you alone. so that you can suddenly start getting flooded in by different members, seeing people all of a sudden. So you get that rush that FPS and RPG players who never experience MMOs get a chance to do. But on the front of having 100 friends and wanting to see them all, as much as I wish that was a possibility, I just don't see it happening. Mostly because the infrastructure to do it is just not available in the game the way Destiny is being designed.
Right. It's a very large goal, but yeah, there's just no way. So what would you say is the max? Does anybody know here? Is there a fact going around, Jez? Do we have a total number that you'll see in the tower or out in the wild?
I think we've heard like 9 or maybe 12.
Interesting.
I would want to say that the max would probably be the maximum that would be allowed in a public event. Like public event starts, everyone starts rushing towards it. If everyone who was in the zone who saw it went there, that would probably be the max people that'd be allowed to play around you, I would think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, I would say that it would probably be the number of max people that would be total. So we already know that 12 people can be in one game of the Crucible. So I would say that we're going to see at least the possibility of 12 people in any given zone. Did it feel like there was a lot of people running around when you were playing, Jez? Did you think to yourself like there should be more people? Like I'm talking about when it was in the full swing, like not when it actually was a ghost town, because I know some people were complaining about there were just, some people there would be friends online, but they wouldn't be able to see them. When it was in full swing, did you feel like this was a living world with just Guardian around every corner?
Well, the tower seemed to be quite packed full of people. But when on patrol, generally I would only see 4 people. But if I moved, like, say, 500 yards down one way, I'll come across 4 more. So they were quite spread out, but they were also, there was enough there that it felt like there was someone doing something nearby, no matter where it was.
Interesting. What about you, Warlock? Is that something you also experienced? Like at the peak times, there was plenty of Guardians around for you to think, oh, I don't know what's going on. What are these people doing?
Yeah, I had run into groups here and there of people, but yeah, the tower did feel like there was enough. Maybe when I was playing, it felt maybe like there could have been a few more people there, but. For the most part, like it felt vibrant enough, to where, hey, there's 2 or 3 Guardians over there. I'm just gonna follow them, help them out, because that seems like fun right now. And then maybe you come across another group and you just decide to go trail them. But yeah, like it wasn't like I ever saw a group of like 12 plus Guardians in an area when I was doing patrol, but I didn't get a lot of time to play patrol myself. Definitely not as much as I would want. But I will have to say, it's pretty easy to invite people to your fire team. Like, I feel like you're going to miss out on a lot of fun and definitely coordination if you don't have a headset and you can't talk to each other. Picking up a random stranger, as long as you could communicate, like, it was pretty fun. But if one of you didn't have a mic, it seemed really difficult to have coordination to do, like, even the strike mission. I was level 8 as a Titan, and I was paired up with 2 random people, and they didn't have a mic, and it was kind of difficult because I would, being the Titan in the group, wanted to kind of be tanky, so I was out in front, but they would go in a different direction from me or something, so I felt like I had to go play catch up. And definitely the times when I played with people who had mics, the game was much more fun and it felt much more fluid.
Right, like there's an exponential amount of strategy and also deadliness that's gained when you are communicating verbally. Like it's you can't replicate it any other way. You know, hey, they've got B. Just saying that they've taken me down at B, like hearing that, like even if you see it on the screen, there's something like you could add more to it. I don't know. There's an amazing amount of awesome that can go into that. Which brings me to my next point: the Destiny beta roll call. Right now on our forums at Bungie.net, we have the Destiny beta roll call, which is basically a Fireteam Finder. You go there, you pick the system that you're going to be playing on, you reply to that thread with your information, and then you can scroll through and see other people, what they have to offer. Martin, who was supposed to be here tonight, signed up for 2 of them, and he just put any day, any time, because that is how much Destiny he is going to be playing when the beta comes out. And I think that that's awesome. There's also going to be opportunities for other people who would be interested in taking shifts, but we will talk about that at a later time. I want to get to questions right now, so Leo have some lined up, but I did want to ask Jez. Jez, how much of that 24 hours would you say you spent just exploring? Like you did not have a goal, you just picked a direction and walked. How much of that 24 hours did you spend doing that?
Probably about half of it. Most of it was just going to see if I could find little parts that no one's been to before.
And did you do that?
A couple times. Like one time I was just going through like the same area where the strike is. There is a path to really high level Hive members, and I took screenshots and I shared it with the podcast last week, and as soon as I posted it, Snabobo from Prime Guard was like, "Hey, where was this? You have to take me to this place."
I saw that on Twitter, and I hated both of you for it. So I want to know how open was the world? Like, did you feel like you ran out of space, out of stuff to, out of a place to go? Like, did you pick a direction and then find pretty quickly that it was over, or is there huge amounts of land that you didn't get anywhere near because there's just that much to cover?
I think there's a lot that they held back, but with closed doors, and there was this black force field that was keeping you out of a lot of places. So I think they did cut off a lot of the parts, but what you could get to was fairly easy to get to. I don't think Old Russia is their biggest map.
And so you walked from as far as you could one side, or you skirted around on your Sparrow, huh?
Pretty much. I mean, it is kind of set up like a circle. Like it's a circle with these areas in between that are big open fields.
Interesting. Mike, did you get a chance to test how far it was before you came to a limitation?
Yeah, there were a few times when I ran into some invisible wall where I felt like I should have been able to go further, but I couldn't. Or, you jumped off a cliff to maybe get down to a ledge and you just fell through the world and died. That happened a few times, but it was alpha again. But I do have to say, the part that was frustrating, but after a while I really started to love it, was there was no way, even on Patrol and Explorer, to like call up a map and see where you were. Like you had to just explore and memorize the area if you wanted to get back to somewhere, and I loved that. Like it was frustrating because we're so used to having a map to call up in games and to kind of plan where we wanted to go and stuff, but this was pure exploration, and it felt like a tribute to back in the 90s, playing the NES or Super Nintendo, and there weren't maps. You just had to remember where things were in dungeons and RPGs and stuff, and I liked that a lot.
I'm pretty excited about that too. So one of the things that I think really keeps me from being able to enjoy that is the map. But I mean, do you really think that there's not going to be a map? Because if that's the case, oh my God, wouldn't it be crazy if the companion app was your map? Like you couldn't access it in game, you had to access it on your thing. Uh-oh, we lost Leo. Sad.
I think it would be. It might be nice, and it might be kind of difficult at the same time to pull up that app every time you wanted to look at your map. But I don't like. To me, that was the thrill of the exploration. Was, oh, I found myself back where I started. I did just go in a circle, but I know how to get to places now. Like I found a few places myself where, I ran into guys who were one-shotting me, and I am definitely going to run back there in the beta as soon as I'm, high enough level to take those things out. But again, like that was the sense of the exploration. Like how fun is it really to pull up a map, throw down a waypoint, and then 90% of the time, at least this is what I do, is I'm looking at my mini map, seeing how close I am to my waypoint. I'm not looking what's around me, because there weren't secrets to find, or maybe there were along the way, and I'd come back for them because I wanted to get to this one point. Where this one, playing Destiny, there's a specific area where old Russia, there's these planes and there's this wing sticking out of the ground that is perfect for a ramp, and it goes, if you know how to get in there. I got in there once and then I immediately died because I was too low level for the monsters, but they weren't too high to not be able to kill. But I was like, I can't wait to maybe be in another part of old Russia that is unlocked, that instead of a plane, that wing that's very blatant, it's a rock formation that is a ramp and is kind of hidden because you can't really see it too well.
Interesting. What I was just thinking is, what I think it would be cool if instead of a map, there was a way to put like a buoy, like you are exploring and you check out certain areas, and what if you could place a beacon, some kind of thing where your friends could go and check it out, like your ghost would say, all right, well, it's 500 meters that way. That would be cool, I think. What do you think about that, Warlock?
That would be fun. It would the reason why I think it'd be fun is to do community events. If you could do something like that, it would be fun to make a little note or something like that, and then turn it into a scavenger hunt for people. Give them clues, give them things to look at, maybe set a few buoys, and then that one, you have a note on that buoy that says, go so far in this direction from here to the next buoy. Just something like that. I think it would be fun to do. It'd be fun to leave a note somewhere being like, I killed this boss, and then someone else comes and does it, and they're like, I'm the second person who killed this boss, writing on the wall or something.
That would be really cool.
That would be fun.
That would be really cool. Jez, what did you think about the lack of a map?
Well, there is a map, but you have to go to a certain location and find it.
You have to go to a certain location?
Yeah, there was inside one of the buildings, there was like a map of old Russia. It was just like a very basic map, and I can find it and throw it in the chat in a second.
Cool.
But it wasn't something that you could carry around with you. It was just, you could see it. And it obviously didn't say where you were on that map, but it was there. But yeah, it's better to be able to say, hey, I'm over in such and such a place, look for the giant plane or the giant ship type of thing.
Oh, you could. It would also be way cool to do a scavenger hunt by sharing a screenshot. You know, like where are these two trees and this broken plane? That would be really cool. All right, Leo. So
there would be fun ways to do community events that way.
Absolutely. Well, and also going back to what you were saying about like leaving a note for somebody, that would be amazingly awesome for Bungie to do. Like imagine them just being able to go into the world and, you know, like leaving a gun under a rock or something. You know, like, and then whoever finds that is the lucky winner. You know, they don't even have to give clues out. It would be fun to just have stuff like that to be found, instant instances, if you will. So, Leo, did we get any questions?
Well, we have a couple of questions. First of all, for our members, of course, who participated in the alpha, which game mode was their favorite? Or if not, which game mode did you particularly not like and why? More or less.
All right, what do you got on that, Jez?
Well, there's a bunch of little things that I didn't really care for, like when you're previewing an item or when you're making your character, you can't spin your character around to see behind, which is really annoying because a lot of the stuff like your shoulder armor is sometimes asymmetrical, but you only see one side of it.
Yeah,
and
that's a
also
bummer.
And you'll never see the back of you unless you're in a tower.
Yeah, that seems a little wrong. So you're saying some kind of 360 degree spin is what you would need, and that's what it sounds like too. Especially like you're saying the asymmetrical armor. You know, okay, so I get to see this one side of the armor, but yeah, what does the back look like? And this is this has got to be a huge problem in the if you're trying to buy something from a vendor. You know, do you really want to buy that piece of armor?
Although most people will buy it based off of stats and not how it looks, I'm sure, for the first bit. Later, when they can afford to make a set that looks cool.
So what was your favorite game mode?
Probably Patrol, just because I had the most time with it, and it was more relaxing, and I could just go to wherever I want, and then stumble across random things like a bunch of Fallen flying around on their pikes.
That is super awesome. Mike, what is your favorite game mode?
I'm gonna have to go and agree with Jez. It's definitely the Explorer, just because I like open world games a lot, and I like exploring. I like discovering new things, and that was what really held my attention. The game mode that I disliked the most.
I think we lost you, Mike.
This is only because I wasn't really able to play.
Hold on, I think we lost you. We lost you right after your least favorite game type is what?
My least favorite would have been the Strike, and that was just because I wasn't able to really play with friends and have a super coordinated experience, and because of that, we were never able to finish it. And so to me, that left a hole in my heart because I couldn't finish. I couldn't see what the reward was. I couldn't see the last little cutscene of that Strike, and that it was the least favorite just because I felt like everyone was always going in different places and there just wasn't too much coordination. Honestly, while I'm not a big PvP person, I enjoyed PvP a lot more than I thought I would. Even though I spent more time dead than alive, it was a lot of fun.
That's important. That's important that you still have fun even when you're losing. And I think that's one of the magic magic beans that Destiny is bringing, is that even when you're losing, it's still a good time. I didn't really see anybody getting just dragged through the mud in any of the videos that I watched. Like even on the team where the people were just creaming the other side, it seemed like it was a well-earned accomplishment instead of just, I saw you first, which is the bane of my existence. Blue Mayhem was asking about that also. He says he'd like to know which mode the panel likes the most. For me, I haven't played it, but it was watching the exploration when people just it was amazing watching people stumble across things like holes in the ground that led to stairs where there was enemies that you couldn't defeat instantly or at all. Leo, did you see enough to really pick out what was your favorite so far?
Well, I mean, it's quite obvious with a game like Destiny. Truly, what you want is a social experience.
Awesome.
What did you get
Leo,
complicated? So I mean, yeah.
We totally missed all of that.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
He also says second, there were some in-depth maps shown of the city with everyone possibly being on a different server, time zone, and whatnot. How would G1 coordinate meetings and classes? There is going to be a calendar application that I'm going to integrate to our website, and it's going to have a listing of all of the public goings-on and all of the G1 only activities. So that calendar is going to be huge. So that's how we're going to coordinate them. He also says, third, what are G1's plans for the beta? We're a couple weeks out, and I'd like to know what the group has in store for us. This is going to depend a lot on what is available when the beta comes out, but it's safe to say that anything you're thinking we should be doing will be incorporated, either because, Blue Mayhem, you have great ideas and we will incorporate that knowledge into our collective, or because it just really fits in well with a first-person shooter MMO shared world style deal. So as long as you sign up for that Destiny, the Destiny beta roll call, you will definitely be in the loop for everything that's going on before we have the calendar. After that, then it should be very simple. And I'm pretty certain that there will be a way of like a calendar within the website. It will be really simple. Did we have anything else, Leo?
Well, Jez had been answering some of this in the chat, but Vacek was asking, what type of cute things can we find in Destiny?
Oh man, what did you have, Jez? Anything good?
Well, apart from like dancing, there's just a lot of the cute things is probably going to end up being based off of what other people are doing, much like dancing.
I like it. I liked watching some Guardians dance on that anointed ogre. That was pretty good. All right,
Who knows,
well,
we might even see like Baby Fallen later on. Their 4 little arms.
Awesome. Well, I would like to thank Ratchek, Ruction, Chicken Lord 1980, Scutch, oh my goodness, DePilot, Chicken Lord, everybody for coming out. Also, somebody left earlier. I wanted to make sure. Des Waffles, thanks for stopping by.
Also, DMill, who had
to
leave because of work.
Grandpa DeMille, very nice of you to come out. Thanks for coming out. Jez, you got some shout outs?
Yeah, just shout out to Prime Guard. We're gonna kick ass.
Awesome. Mike?
You know, let's give a shout out to River. He's made a lot of this happen as well, even though he can't be here tonight. And I'm glad he's part of the team. And I feel bad that I don't have an Xbox, then I won't be able to play with him. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but you know, going with the PS4 and getting some of those exclusives.
Awesome. Makes a ton of sense. I agree. I'm very thankful to have River part of this. He definitely made this what it is right now. And good for him. I wanted to ask him if he's yet considering PlayStation 4 because I've got one. I picked one up only 5 days too late to join the alpha. Jez, Warlock. Leo, you have the Xbox One. Have you been considering the PlayStation 4 at all?
No.
Awesome. Shout outs.
Give a shout out, of course, to Blue Mayhem. He's been giving me a bunch of ideas and helping me work out with some of our internal things here at Guardian 1. And to everyone who showed up for the Guardian 1 game night that we had before the show.
Awesome. Yes, definitely. Thank you to all you people. Thank you to everyone who showed up live. Thank you to everyone who's listening on this as a podcast right now. We appreciate all of your time, and we will see you on Thursdays, 7:30 p.m., 10:30 Eastern, right here on Guardian 1. Thank you.